Good morning to one and all students.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Very good. So I'm going to share my desktop so that you are able to see my presentation. So students, is it visible to everyone? My presentation screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your response. So the subject name and the subject code for this semester you are going to study is UDIT 010 Ethical Hacking and Cyber Security is your subject name. And then under Unit 1, we are going to discuss the last topic, that is need or necessary for cyber security policy, and then international convention for this cyber security. That is what we are going to discuss today. So we will get into our agenda. So this is what the session plan. Attendance at the start and end of the session. Then introduction about myself, etiquettes to be followed, learning objectives and outcome, then recap of our previous class, introduction about the topic, then detailed explanation about the topic, summarization at last, and Q&A, feedback if any. This is what I planned. So as per our agenda, right now I'm going to take the attendance. So students, please unmute your audio and mark your presence. Answer your attendance for Adarsh, Akash, Jayasuriya, Mageshwaran, Azhar,
Present, sir.
Shoaib, Aravind,
Present, sir.
Karanraj,
Present, sir.
Ranjit,
Present, sir.
Pavendan,
Present, sir.
Antonio, Vishnu, Ardra,
Present, sir.
Noel,
Present, sir.
Hari,
Present, sir.
Nitish Balaji. Who told present? Hari? I heard some voice. Then Raghavendra, Sri Veeramani, Shubham,
Sir.
Yogeshwaran,
Sir.
Shivaguru. Yogeshwaran present?
Present, sir. Present, sir.
Yeah, okay. Shivaguru, Aniruddha, Krishna Kumar, Omkar,
Present, sir.
Ranjit, Petroleum, Danuj,
Present, sir.
Yedudev, Astin,
Sir, on mic problem. Present, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, ask him.
Astin. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who's for whom there is a mic problem?
Everything is present. Actually, there was a mic problem.
Yeah, for whom I'm asking? Astin or
Hosting, sir.
okay.
So as per
Kamlesh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Kamlesh, okay. Milan, Suraj,
Yes, sir.
Pradeep,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Shobit,
Yes, sir.
Vijay.
Yes, sir. Vijay present, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, Vishnu is present, sir. Sorry, sir, I'm a little late.
Whom?
Sir,
Vishnu.
Ranjit Kumar
Vishnu.
present.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Vishnu Sukumar. Okay, fine. Noted.
Sir,
Sir,
Ranjit
others
Kumar
present.
Petroleum.
Adarsh and then Ranjit Kumar Petroleum.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Ranjit Kumar, Vishnu Kumar. Who is that? Please tell your name, pa. Krishna Kumar, Ranjit Kumar from Petroleum.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm
hello, sir.
asking whom you told. I mean, I am asking the name. Whether it is Krishna Kumar or Ranjit Kumar.
Ranjit Kumar.
Ranjit Kumar. Okay. Noted, pa. Then
Sir,
anybody else?
from
Yeah.
Petroleum.
Krishna Kumar.
Yedudev, sir. Yedudev.
Edu. Okay. Noted, pa.
Yes.
Then
Sir,
anything else?
Mohammed Shoaib, sir.
Akash.
Mohammed Shoaib, sir. Mohammed Shoaib.
Mohammed Shoaib. Okay.
He's there, sir, but he can't able to on the mic. So he said.
Okay, but noted. Okay, fine. So we are getting back to our presentation. So introduction, etiquettes, learning objective. So far we discussed many times. So I'm going to skip those slides. Then the next one is recap of our previous class. Last class we started and completed the topic called cyber terrorism. So before getting into the recap of our previous session, I want to ensure that am I audible students to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
My
sir.
voice is clear? Yeah. Okay, fine. Thanks for your response. Last class we started the topic cyber terrorism and completed at the end. So, what is the meaning for cyber terrorism means? As a summary, it can be defined as crime happening under the cyber environment. That is more or less cyber crime and cyber terrorism is equal only because cyber terrorism is the part of the cyber crime. So, cyber terrorism in the sense instead of having the physical war within the country or within the nation, the person can use the computer with internet connectivity to attack other person, other state, official government, or other country also. So this is what the cyber terrorism. That is the people against the laws or acting against the laws, acting against others' perspective, which are prohibited. Those are all comes under the category called terrorist. If those terrorist people using the cyber, the cyber environment for the attacking purpose, then it is comes under the category called cyber terrorism. So what are we discuss some of the features. So the features, the main features are it is very difficult to identify the attacker very first. Then it can be the attacker has the multiple boundaries, so we are difficult to find the boundaries. That is the locations. Then speedy development. It is because of the small tools available, and it's also very low expensive. It's inexpensive, and at last automated methods. So these are all some features of cyber terrorism. Then most common possibility attacks of the cyber security are first one IP spoofing, then the next one denial of service. We can deny the particular link or particular data. So these are some possibility attacks. Then another one more, password cracking also. So these are the some of the attackings, possible attacks. So at last we discussed the prevention methods. That is, prevention is better than cure. So how you are going to protect your data on the cyber environment means you are going to keep your antivirus. First you want to install the antivirus, and the next step you want to keep the antivirus up to date. And the second one, you are going to update your applications. In the sense, your mobile applications in case of smartphones or tablets, your software in case of desktop or laptop. So everything is on as on up to date. That is what. Then from the trusted sources only you are going to install your application, mobile application, or you are going to download the software. Then the next one is important thing is keeping the strong password. So strong password provides the minimal number of attacking. Though they are going to crack anyhow, they are if the particular hacker tries to attack any machine, they have the multiple attacks. They try multiple attacks. That is what we seen yesterday. That is brute force attacks. With the help of the Trojan horse, they keep on trying to prey you, attack you. So anyhow, but the simple prevention method is keeping our password in a more securable way. That is the combinations of alphabets, numerals, and then the special characters. So most of the time you use this type of combination instead of merely having the numbers, merely having the alphabets. So having the mixed type of this passwords helps you to secure your data. So that is what we discuss, and we seen three types of examples with the help of this cyber terrorism also. So the first example is 9 bar 11 attack. The second example, in India happens two things, that is 26 bar 11 attack, and then at last the Ahmedabad the bomb blast. This is what we discussed so far. So with this I conclude, recap of our yesterday's class. Now we are going to start our today's topic, that is cyber security policy and international convention. So why we need, or is there any necessary of security policy? That is what we are going to discuss. So I put a question to you. We discussed so far cyber threats, cyber attacks, cyber crime, cyber terrorism. So with the knowledge of this, I'm putting the question in front of you. Is there any security policy necessary for cyber environments? It is necessary or not? Or is there any need for security policy? Pa?
Yes, sir.
So obviously the question was yes only. Thanks for your response. So so far we discussed so many things happening under cyber environment. So to prevent this, or once it is happened, how we are going to rectify those things, we need the tight security policy. That is what the need for cyber security policy. So for this policy, the internationally also, because the cyber is not only meant for or specifically meant for one country. That is what we discussed in the last class. That is lack of boundaries, because one particular attacker, with the help of the IP spoofing or masquerading, he can act that he is in multiple locations. Though he is in India, Tamil Nadu, he or she can act that he or she is present in the multiple locations with the help of that IP spoofing and IP masquerading. So there is a necessity to frame the cybersecurity policy, and also we want to have the conventional policy on the international space also, because it has it will be expanded to the international boundaries also, not only for the local, it can be also international. So the international countries also taking part in this convention. That is what we are going to discuss. So in India, we are having so many policies. Uh, each and every country also has its own unique policies that we called as NCP. That is sorry, NCSP. That is National. Sorry, NSCP. I will type that. National Cyber Security Policy, NCSP. So this NCSP word is common, but it can be the convention different and unique for the different set of borders. For example, in the marine, if you are onboarding in the marine means the ship means each and every country has its own policy for the crossing the borders or getting entering into the port. So each and every country has its own rules. Within India also, each and every state follows a different set of rules, maybe in education or transport, anything maybe. So the name is common, but the convention under that can be unique for each and every country. So in India, it is last developed in 2016. This NCSP policy developed in 2013, very first, and then 2016 revised, but it is not still tightened at all, because now we are in 2020. 4 more years went on. We discussed also this cyber attacks. It's moreover has a speed development as on day, because day by day the crimes are increasing. But in India, practically there is no law to strengthen tightly for this cyber security. This is what this NCSP. So we are going to see this also. So the next thing is the convention is going to be called as Budapest Convention. That is what we are going to discuss today. So students, is it visible, my PDF?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what the introduction. It is Convention on Cyber Crime. So it can be named as Budapest Convention or Budapest Convention on Cyber Crime. That is, it is the first international convention came into the picture for addressing the computer crimes. Crimes in the sense maybe attack, threats, and terrorism. All those things comes into the picture. So the primary role of this Budapest Convention is they want to make the investigation, they want to obey the laws, they want to make the investigation, and then they are seeking the cooperation all over the nations and all over the country. That is what, because it is generated or created by the Europe country. For entire Europe, they created. So it can be drafted by Council of Europe, and afterwards it extended to all other countries, just like Canada, Japan, Philippines, in South Africa, United States, and in India also is a part of it. So this is what the Budapest Convention, as we discussed earlier. Internationally also, we want to have the convention laws, because it is not only depends on within the country or within the nation, the state. So that is what. So this particular Europe Council drafted this Budapest Convention and spread it all over. This the particular council asked other countries also to join, and then they are framing the policies. So the primary job for this council is they are going to investigate. After investigation, if any country is involved, identified, means that country also wants to obey or undergo the investigation according to this Council of Europe. So the Council of Europe also obey the laws unique for that country. For example, I am telling simple example. In India, the bank, sorry, no, not a bank, the Vijay Mallya escaped, eloped from India, and he is right now in London. In London, it is not impossible, but it is very tough to arrest the particular person, whomever belongs to India, because he already eloped from India. So that, but we are very facing tough situation to convict that Vijay Mallya and getting back to India, because the laws are different for that United Nations, that is London, but for United Kingdom, but for in India, the laws were somewhat powerful in the situation I am telling. So it depends upon the country. In the convention depends upon the country. So the Budapest Convention also wants to obey the convention of the particular country also, because as I told earlier, the example, we cannot straight away go and arrest that Vijay Mallya and getting back to India is not possible right now, because we want to fulfill all the satisfy all the formalities, because we want to clear the passport of the particular person, visa. So there are so many formalities available. The particular person traveling means there is no issues, but if we want to convict him or her, then we want to follow some protocols. That is what the Budapest Convention also doing. So then next one, objective. So there are so many things I will share with you later. I mean, textual information. I am going to deal with the important points under this notes. So next one is the objective. So as this is the first international convention, so what is the primary objective? That is, what are the crimes they are dealing? Means first one, infringements of copyright, that is copyrights, patent theft. Then next one, money theft, that is computer related fraud. So all frauds comes into the picture or get into the picture, that is money theft. That means banking transaction, username, password theft, then the credit card fraudulent. So everything comes under this computer related fraud. The next one, child pornography, that is transmission and receiving of this content. The next one, hate crimes, in the sense violence or revenge. Then next one, violence or violations of network security, that is spreading the virus, worms, Trojan horse throughout the network and breaking the security policy. So this is what they are going to concentrate, and this is what the objective of this particular Budapest Convention. So they are going to deal with all those things, but also they want to obey the laws of that particular country. If any country involved in that matters, then we want to, and the Budapest Convention want to obey the unique law also. This is what the objective. Then the next one, the convention aims principally at 3 points. The first one is harmonizing the domestic criminal substantive law elements of offense and connected provisions in the area of cybercrime. That is, we are that is the convention making the law in the harmonized manner. They are not going to be a biased one. Then the second point, providing for domestic criminal procedure law powers. That is investigation only, dealing with the second form. The investigation in the sense, after investigation, because in for every convention we want to produce the proper evidence, maybe in the physical environment or in the cyber environment, whatever the thing under law, everything is common, because law requires or law needs evidence purely. Maybe if we are having any physical fight or physical doing any physical crime, then if we are filing the complaints against the opponent person, we want to produce the proper evidence. So evidence only speaks, evidence only matters. In such a way, the investigation also happens with the help of this Budapest Convention. Once the investigation confined, then the next step is providing the evidence. But in cyber environment, we always have the evidence only. So this evidence gets stored in pen drive or in the cloud environment, maybe a mail or in any cloud. That is a example, AWS or in Gmail, Google Drive, ForShare. There are so many websites for this cloud. So evidence going to be submitted to the particular country with the help of this cloud platform, or in the mail transmission, or to the pen drive transmission, cloud transmission, and then the mail transmission. So the attacker, whomever involving or indulged in this activity, also have the possibility of hacking that particular transmissions. Pen drive, they will send the virus. For email transmission, they can intrude and they will spoof the IP address and take up the mail. And for cloud storage also, it leads some problem. So principally, they are going to provide the evidence, but the problem is like this. Then next one, that is last principle, setting up a fast and effective regime on international cooperation. That is, it always seeks covers the international bodies, that is countries, to obey the convention whatever created. This is what the laws. So whatever I told comes under the clause, that is the offenses under the convention. That is what the offenses. It is this or the thing maybe happen in future, that is evidence can be erased. That is what. Then the next one, we are going to see some abstract. So apart from this Council of Europe, Russia, that is Russia, also taken part after a decade. Then India also stand for this Russia and also for that Council of Europe, that is Budapest Convention. So the first thing, India voted in favor of cybercrime resolution led by Russia in the Committee of UNGA, that is United Nations General Assembly. So the first vote held in 2019 only. Then next one, Budapest Convention, that is what we seen, that is Council of Europe only generated. The convention is sole legally binding international multilateral treaty. That is what we seen. International bodies comes or clubbed under one umbrella called Budapest Convention. Then, so the significance of this is they are going to enforce the law through MLAT, that is mutual legal assistance, because it is the international borders. So mutual legal assistance treaty helps to make a small bargain convention, depends upon the situation or depends upon the crimes. Then next one, Russia led resolution. So how the other countries coming forward means Russia comes into picture. The Russian proposal entitled, that is countering the use of information and communication technologies for criminal purposes. That is ICT, that is information and communication technology. They are using the ICT for criminal purpose, but we are using the ICT for the development strategy. But if the particular person using the ICT for criminal purpose means they are come under the Russian LED solution. So this is what. So before proceeding, I want to make sure that students are able to follow me, because it's a theory portion. Maybe it's lengthier. Students are able to follow me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your response. Then Russian proposals. The second point, Russian proposal calls for creation of a committee in August 2020, New York, to establish the all other nations, that is all countries, to comes under one umbrella, just like Budapest Convention. So what is the main thing is this draft convention goes far beyond what the Budapest Convention allows for regarding cross-border access to data, because Budapest Convention has some limitations. That limitations is they want to obey the uniqueness of the convention belongs to the particular country, and then the cross-border data accessing. So in the convention, whatever Russia drafted, that is all gets eradicated, and the cross-border accessing and obeying the international convention, obeying the particular uniqueness convention of the country gets eradicated. Because if the particular country involved in any other activity, then that particular country is the responsible for all the further investigations. They want to obey all the investigations happening under this Russia LED resolution. They want to produce all the documents if necessary. If asked by this Russian LED, they want to produce the documents, or else they are going to face some stringent action. That is what. But in the Budapest Convention, that is was not a case, because the convention obeys the unique convention of the country. So with the help of this, if the particular country rejects or not willing to provide the data, for example, under the topic cyber threats, so cyber attack, we seen one example, Romanian government and then German government involving in some of the ransomware threats. So those two countries wants to obey the conventions. If it is not, because the German country wants to give the data, the Romanian country wants to get the data. So according to this Budapest Convention, it is not possible at all. If the country rejects or not willing to provide the data, then it can be diluted according to the Budapest Convention. But as for the Russian LED resolution, it is not like that. If the country indulged in any of this activity, then they want to obey all the scenarios, investigation procedures. That is what the thing. Then, so this is the reason why human rights groups criticize the UN proposal. So, as far as this draft concerns, the human rights commissions of all countries are against for this, or criticizing this proposal, because it is not going to obey for the uniqueness of the convention having or coming under the country. Because once it is happens, all the countries wants to obey only the Russian LED resolution, but in turn it cannot obey, that is the Russian LED resolution cannot obey the laws of the country. So all the human rights groups of the worldwide nations are criticizing or against. So they are called this as closed internet or state controlled internet. It means all the things are closed only, because each and every country has its own convention. This is the entire convention, so they are calling like that. Then the next one, that is the last one, India stand. What are the India stand, or what are the steps, necessary steps taken by India for this cyber convention? Means India maintain its status as a non-member of Europe LED, that is Budapest Convention, and favor for Russian LED Convention. Then, according to the IB, data sharing with foreign agencies infringes, that is, data sharing to the other governments may leads to the infringements. That is what. Then the next title is laws under India. So the first one is IP Act 2000. There are so many sections available. So 43A and 72A, the primary thing is. So 43A is compensation for failure to protect the data. This is for the governmental, and that is public sector and private sector. And second one, 72A, any disclosure of information knowingly and intentionally without the consent of the particular person is maybe leads to punishable and imprisonment. That is what I told one example earlier. One of the recharge shop owner sells the mobile numbers of the recharged person details to one marketing agency. So that is what the individual. So 72A imposes for individual, 43A for public sectors and private sectors part. So this is what. So next one, this is a small thing. Article 21. So Article 21 can be convened by Supreme Court retired judge, that is Puttasamy. So they framed fundamental right to privacy. So after that, in 2018, one bill was passed as a draft, that is Personal Data Protection Bill. Though comes under 2018. It is in the draft state only, not confined. So 2016 itself, everything over in India, but the necessity of stringent law for the cyber environment is required for India, because if maybe international border, it is okay because it comes under Russian LED resolution. But within the country, there are so many things going on, but the laws are not stringent. That is what the thing I want to conclude. So with this, I'm going to conclude the thing and going for summarization. So before going into summarization, I want to know whether any Q&A, any questions, any doubts, any clarifications.
No, sir.
Yeah.
No doubt, sir.
Okay, thanks for your response. So today we discussed the topic, that is necessity or need for the cyber security policy and convention for this cyber environment. So necessity is required or not means, obviously the answer is yes. That is, we need the stringent convention for this security, cyber security policy, and the stringent convention for international borders also. So there are two conventions available. One is given by the Council of Europe, and another one is drafted by Russian. So first one is called as Budapest Convention. In the Budapest Convention, they are going to deal all the cyber threats, attacks, cyber the terrorism also. That is, they are going to deal with the money theft, copyright, patent theft, and then transmission and receiving of the child pornography, and then revenge things, then spreading over the virus throughout the networks of networks. So those things are dealt by this Budapest Convention. So the objective, primary objective is this are all they are going to deal. The thing is, they are going to obey the international laws provided by the country. Whatever the country indulging in the cyber threat activities, they are the Budapest Convention going to obey. That is what the biggest flaw. And the data transmission over the country also prohibited under this Budapest Convention. So the next country comes forward for the another type of convention to overcome the flaws under Budapest Convention. The country name is Russia. The draft convention is Russia LED Convention. So in this convention, the data crossing the borders is also possible. Then it does not obey any unique convention according to the country. That is what the two things they are going to follow. So every country is joining into the nation. India also part of this convention. In the India voted favor for this convention. So this is what the Russia LED convention. And in India, what are the laws we are having means, there are two types of sections available. That is IT under IT Act. First section is 43A and the second section is 72A. So 43A is meant for public and private sectors in case of failure of data. 72A is purely meant for the individuals. So if any disclosure of the data to other persons without the consent of the particular person, that is what. So next one, in 2017 Article 21 drafted, and 2018 Personal Data Protection Bill also drafted. They are in the drafted state only. They not released the entire book of the article with the subsection. So this is what we discussed so far. So within this, I conclude the session. We told that there is no Q&A. So straight away, I am going for the last portion, that is attendance.